Oi oi, alright, how's it going? I'm Grant, you're you. This is Doodle Review coming through with a new album to just chat fraff and tell you whether I like it or not really. This channel is dedicated to anything in the kind of alternative category first and foremost, and so today we're talking about the post-punk meets new wave meets synth pop act Future Islands. An example of a band that paid their dues for quite some time before finding success, Future Islands built a cult following over the late 2000s into the 2010s and then exploded after a fiery appearance on Letterman that went viral in 2014 due in no small part to frontman Samuel Herring's deeply passionate vocals and dance performance. Despite the buzz following that and the many accolades levelled at the group, I didn't really pay attention to the album's singles, which ultimately ranked among many critics' best of lists in 2014. I also didn't really recall seeing much about the band's follow-up since then. I actually thought People Who Aren't There Anymore was their long delayed follow-up, but it turns out it's like their third since then. Weirdly, prior to getting stuck into this record, I knew more of frontman Herring's hip-hop alter ego as Hemlock Ernst via his record Back at the House with Kenny Siegel than I do about his main band. Back at the House is pretty good, by the way, you should check it out. I've definitely been on a bit of a roller coaster with People Who Aren't There Anymore. The way I do these reviews, I'll listen intensely to an album over the course of a week. I do at least like 4 to 5 listens all the way through, and at some point over that time I'll make notes kind of track by track, and then what tends to happen, because I've got a queue of other albums to review, I might not come back to convert those notes into an actual review until a few weeks later, and in that time I'll kind of dip in and out of the album but won't fully immerse myself until it comes to actually doing the full write-up. With this Future Islands album, by the end of the first week and having made those notes, my overriding narrative, the overriding kind of chain of thought I wanted to wrestle with in this review was a question that I don't know if I've ever been confronted with before, and one I didn't really know the answer to. The question being, like, how much does it matter if a band's music is carried by one specific element that is better than all the rest? I was dead set at the end of that first week that while the music had its charm, if you were to strip away Samuel Herring's performance, you wouldn't really be left with anything that compelling. Of course, I get if you take out the central part of any traditional pop structured music, you're going to be lacking something, because the music is usually written to create space for a voice, but it stands to reason, you know, if you took the vocal from a song, you'd expect to lose anywhere from like 40 to 50% of the impact, right? But at the end of my first kind of times listening to People Who Aren't There Anymore, if you took away the frontman's performance, I feel like it would leave us with like 10%. That's how I was thinking. But flash forward a couple of weeks later, I'm sat down here at my desk putting the record on to start converting those notes into a review, and I'm trying to follow this narrative of an album being carried by one performance and what that means, and meanwhile I'm just like completely vibing out to the music. It just hit me different this time around, and more of the instrumental had kind of seeped into my subconscious than I really gave it credit for, and here we are, a changed doodle reviewer. Future Islands fan though? Future Islands curious? Better than that, I'd say Future Islands positive. While the album may have won me over, reluctantly pulling me over the hump to the higher side of a 5, People Who Aren't There Anymore still has some rough patches, or rather I might just still have some blind spots. But you know, post my enlightenment, I wanted to fall in love with a track like Deep in the Night, but I just can't, man. It's so easy to fall under Herring's utter conviction in what he's singing, but this song is a bad music video away from appearing on some divorced dad's Facebook page, albeit with, you know, pristine production. There are also tracks on the final stretch that just blend together in all their dramatic synth popness, where not even Herring can kind of capture my attention. The record just kind of runs out of steam for me after the fight, and at this point I'm just kind of tapped out. The album's spell has been broken. But with that being said, King of Sweden is a banger, and that's an opinion I've had since my first or second listen. It's unquestionable, really. I like the driving bass line that hits those octaves in the chorus. I like the synth lead in the same chorus that starts to kind of slightly detune midway through, and then of course the "You Are All I Need" is a banger. It's a hook. The Tower directly follows this up, and it's not an instant killer like the track this one, you know, this one is kind of a bit slower. It's emerged from the back of the pack, And so where I've come to really appreciate the mellower, slow burning approach to the song. The bass tone has been dialed in to kind of fit the vibe. It's got this clipped slight chorus effect, and then these unexpected hits of fuzzy distortion on certain notes during the chorus are really interesting. The fight, if you want it to be super minimalist, brutal, Spartan, even with the track listing, I think could be a solid finale. It's a track that takes you by surprise by how anthemic it is. Herring's chorus with those, surprise screams just has me fully on board. The song's about, not wasting any time, making the most out of life. And as I'm listening to it, I just kind of almost want to salute and pledge my allegiance to this new mantra. So intense is that performance. And contrary to my first impressions, there are some songs where the instrumental takes center stage or draws you in as much as the enigmatic frontman. Give Me My Ghost Back in particular caught my attention for its synths that sound like they're coming at you like bursts of oncoming traffic, and the band deliver a really effective dynamic shift from verse to chorus. Iris also features some really nice drums that stand apart from the very straightforward motoric rhythms of almost every other track here. It moves perfectly from filtered crunchy drum machines to live sounds while layering in these light and airy guitars and kind of popping synth tones. This is certainly an album that I've wrestled with, but it's been rewarding to just kind of chart its growth on me. I certainly get the love for Future Islands now, and there are definitely songs that have found their home in my library and kind of resonated. Ultimately, I do find the closing tracks too much of a drag and can't get into the corny yacht rock ballad of Deep in the Night, so I'm feeling a high 6 on this one. Let's go a 6-7. Check this out if you liked, or if you like this, check out Kotoilo Ioko. It's the part of the episode where I suggest some albums or artists you should listen to if you liked this Future Islands record, or the opposite, if you already know the albums I'm about to say, maybe give the Islands a shot. None of what I'm about to suggest has quite the same amount of pop, puts the same amount of pop in their synth pop or dark wave sound, but I'd first go with the avant-garde disco of US girls. In some respects, they're a feminine counter to the Future Islands perspective. Maybe also check out Jenny Beth's album for something that leans a little bit more on the post-punk elements. Devon Welsh is a great singer-songwriter that I think strikes a similar enigmatic tone as Samuel Herring. Maybe also give a look to the Eamon Dunes record Freedom, and let's also chuck in that Dark Mark versus Skeleton Joe record. Alright, let's knock it on the head then. That's what I think. What about you? Did I get this right? Did I get this wrong? Let me know in the comments below. While you're messing around with clips and taps and all of that guff in the origin of the screen, hit the subscribe button. I'm sure it's kicking about down there. You'll also find a lot of other videos related to this one that you might like in the description. But yeah, subscribe, share some thoughts, show some love, or just tell some abuse in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, bye.